Whenever I log back into a Minecraft world, I'm always struck with a feeling of nostalgia. The beautiful builds, the incredible landscapes that I've made always make me come back to this game. But I also have a bad habit of leaving my old worlds and starting new ones. So today I'm here to fix that by starting a new world. But this world I'll hold on to forever and hopefully get to show my kids one day. So if you're up for that journey, consider leaving a like on this video and a grand welcome to Slip's survival world. Well, now that we're here in this lovely, incredible new world, I might as well tell you the story of this region. This area of the world goes by the name of Aapon. It was discovered in the 1850s by a group of 3 explorers on their way to find new land. This land is home to marvelous mountains that reach the sky, and it's our job to make a medieval village here, a town that we still have yet to name, where we'll mine all the minerals that we'll need for our kingdom, right here in the region of Aapon. This is where the story begins. Well, it looks like we're all caught up, and am I excited to build in this area. The land here goes down from the mountains and just juts out so wonderfully down over to the river. But there's not too much that we can do without a place to call home. You can see in our chests right here, we have tons of materials, because as you can tell, I've been doing a lot of prep work in order to get to this point in the game. But now, after long last, it is finally time to build. It's been about 45 minutes worth of time, and I thought I might as well check in with you all more during the series. So here, as you can see all around us, we have a retaining wall that looks over onto our valley. And if we hop into Cheetah Cam, it looks even better from the side here. I went with a mixture of stone variants, including stone and cobblestone, along with some stone bricks, and then we have some mossy cobblestone and stone bricks down here. In my personal opinion, it kind of makes this area look like a golf course, and I'm still not sure. It could be a block too tall, but that's okay. This being our forever world, we can always come back to it at a later point in time, and at the very least, we can always look back at this area and say this is where we started in this world. But for now, we have a cozy cottage to put in this area, and so I say, let's get along to doing that. Well, I'm bringing you back in early again because as you can see behind me, we've done a little bit more progress here on our new kingdom. And as I look over our new farmland, I'm reminded of why I don't usually bring you in as much. And that's probably because I never immediately end up getting to what I say I'm going to. The reality is I always need a couple of more materials for our build. And in this case, we need some packed mud, which as plenty of you know means that we need wheat. So hence we have our lovely garden. We have some potatoes over in this area here, and then the other fields hold wheat, and I'm excited to say that we finally have all of the materials that we need for the build. So after being in this world for 117 days, let's get along to making a home. Not even an hour later, and we have a pretty cool looking build standing right in front of us. As you can see on our sign, we have Slip's house, and I think that it looks pretty cool at every single angle. We can head back into Cheetah Cam, and you'll see that we have an awesome roof design. I really like the slope and angle of the roof. And one of my favorite accent pieces is using pots with plants on the side of the roof. It always looks good as a decorational piece on the trim. And over on the side right here, we have something that I've never done before, which is to add a little pen to the area. We don't really have any space for animals, so I'll probably place some flowers in here. The same applies on this end of the house, and we have some decorational blocks around here too. I have also gotten around to making an interior, but we'll get around to looking at that later, because as you can see, the rest of this area is just looking bland now. So we're gonna make some pathways and maybe place something in this area too. If you're still here, I appreciate you, and consider leaving a like on the video, but it's time to place the finishing touches on this area. Well, you could say that I'm quite pleased with how this build turned out. We've filled in the entire area with crops, and I've also gotten around to adding some brown banners, which I think is the perfect extra accent. We have some pumpkins growing over on this end of the build, and we can head inside to take a look at the interior. It's definitely simple, but I like it. And we have some pots, and we have some item frames, and we have some bookshelves and one book in it, which has nothing special, but I thought it would be nice to have something in here. We can head on upstairs to the second floor, and I've gotten around to making interior here too. You'll see this is our map wall with our map of the first ever iteration of this kingdom, and I'm sure we'll get to expanding it as we continue to expand the kingdom as well. We have some extra storage and some smelting in this area, and the same can be said on this side with the addition of our bed. And so I know it's really quaint, but I really do like how it looks. And I also did want to mention, as we are moving over to this area, this really couldn't be a more perfect start in a more perfect area. With that awesome mountain backdrop in the distance, I have a feeling we're up for something special. And so I think it's just about time for me to get back to work. It's been a tough winter here at the kingdom. I've never felt cold like this before. There's something vicious about the way the wind rips through your skin here. To be honest, some days even leaving the house seems daunting. They say that it can be dangerous to stay at this elevation too long. Hermit's headache, they call it. It stops as soon as it starts, they say. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't have the courage to ask any more questions. If you can somehow forget about the cold, life is pretty simple here. And as you can tell, in the valley that extends beyond us, I am no longer alone. It took some time to get Marnie back on her 4 legs. It didn't help that the snow wouldn't let up. I did the best I could to keep our bellies fed and to keep us safe. Despite her condition, Marnie was always in good spirits. Etat, on the other hand, was not. He was always muttering under his breath that my builds could look better, that I had lost the joy of building. You wouldn't ever think it, but Etat must know a lot of people. When he and Marnie left us at Aapon, it left a hole in my heart. However, within just weeks, new houses began to pop up around the mountain. However, that was not without its fair share of risk, as I was about to find out. In the weeks that followed, the mountain was quiet. Quieter than a creeper in a downpour. One night, as I watched the canvas of stars under the sky, I thought that I might as well add some life to this quiet kingdom in this forgotten mountain valley. I think I should add some life to this quiet kingdom in this cozy mountain valley. And so, that very next day, I set out to make a meeting place for the people here at Aapon. And so we can say a big hello to our village tavern. I really do think that the vibe and color palette really matches all of the rest of the builds that we have in the kingdom of Aapon. As we head along the path, we really get that medieval vibe. And if we press the button here, you'll also see that we have a wonderful interior that's very cozy and friendly. I really do like the inclusion of the amethyst crystal that we have here, and we have an eating little area if someone needed to get some food. We have some bookshelves for some reading and some storage as well. And if we head up the ladder, you'll also see that we have more of the same in here. And although I probably could put some chairs in here to make this more tavern-like, I really do like the vibe of this interior. This iron armor in these item frames right here is our first ever set of iron armor, and so I'm incredibly happy that we'll be able to preserve it in this world forever. And to be honest, I'm so excited to see how long it lasts. But I must say, the region of Aapon is really starting to get some infrastructure, and it also really seems to me like we're starting to get through the winter. So I'll get back to work on improving this little mining colony, and if anything happens, I hope that you know that I'll be sure to let you know. Eventually, I had had my fill of material collection. It was time to get building once again. Well, as you can see, we've gotten around to doing a whole ton more work around the kingdom of Aapon. I kind of ended up getting an urge to build another little house. I think that it's quaint and it's cozy, and it also has some farmland that's over to the left, which of course we'll get to expanding as time goes on. We have a pen over here and on the back side too, and it just gives such a fantastic look overlooking the mountain. It also happens to have an interior as well, which definitely could be glammed up a little bit with some extra books, but there's not too much we can do about that at the moment because we happen to be out of leather, but I've continued along with tons of walls and some extra potatoes in this land here, which along with some spruce trees to fill in the area looks really well, or I guess really nice that is, and I think that everything really ties in the land as we make our way to our new building area. We have our chests with tons of materials as you can see here, and we also have some trapdoors which lead on down to an automatic pumpkin farm. The rail cart just goes back and forth and back and forth. The observers on the ceiling will notice the pumpkins when they grow, which will trigger the pistons, and then the hopper with the minecart will pick it all up and it'll come on down to deposit all of the materials into this chest here. It's a very simple interior as you can see, and we also have a bubble elevator here, which just makes this area a little bit easier to use. But as the sun begins to set, I must say this area is looking a little bit too barren for me. So I say, let's get along to building a beautiful windmill in this area.
Some things I never thought I needed. Some things I never thought I'd have. As if they are too hard to believe in. The moment I ever called them mine, I knew exactly what I was calling. I knew exactly what to say. There will be nothing to get over if I just let it slip away. So I guess I'll try. Yet another close call from my eyes.
Well, as you can see, we've gotten a whole ton of work done in a relatively short period of time. We have this really awesome, incredible looking windmill that overlooks the rest of the valley. And for really only using spruce wood, I think that I cooked. We have some brown banners as well, and tons of pots with chains hanging from trapdoors. And not only that, but if we head inside, you'll see that we now have 2 villagers waiting for us to breed. We can place a trapdoor over the door so that the villagers won't be able to get out, and then we'll take them out of their minecarts and throw them a whole ton of potatoes as well. I am assuming that this is going to be enough for us to have a little bit of baby action, and there we go. And so we'll keep the rest of our potatoes in this barrel here. But you'll also notice in my hands right here, I happen to have 27 diamonds because I needed a ton of redstone to transport these villagers over here to the kingdom of Aapon. So you could say that I'm a very happy man, but we still have more work to do. We need to fit this area in more with the environment and probably get around to placing an interior in here as well. If you're enjoying the video so far, consider leaving a like on it, and I say let's get back to work. Well, you could say that I'm so happy with everything that we've made so far here in Slip Survival World, and with this being my first ever custom windmill design, and with all of the potato fields that you can see all around, this place is really starting to come together. It really is kind of funny for me to think that it's day 428 in this world, but we are now officially ready to start doing big things here to get this kingdom ready in Aapon. Although we're only a couple of months into this difficult winter, I think that we're safe on food now. And as you may be able to tell behind me, we also have some villagers and a new interior in our windmill as well. We can open the door and take a look inside at all of our new friends. I went for a really cool interior and floor design as well. We have some furnaces and some coal ore that's been silk touched, along with some dried coral as well. As you can see, it's definitely lively in this area, but we have some item frames with some iron ingots on it as well. And all around us, we're starting to have life in this beautiful kingdom, meaning that we're really now off to the races. But my time here in this mountain region has told me that you never really know when the next blizzard will come. So I'm gonna do my best to enjoy a beautiful sunny day in these lovely lands before, as always, we get back to work. Well, it hasn't been any time for you, but it's been a couple of weeks since I've played in this world, and if I'm being honest with you, it was kind of difficult for me to choose what I wanted to work on. I knew that I really wanted to work on replacing all of the wheat that we had in the mountains with some potatoes, which we ended up doing across the entire mountainside, and I'm so happy that we did it. But I realized that it wasn't really a good thing that I was procrastinating playing in my forever world, so I think that we're just gonna go with the flow in today's episode and make this entire area a little bit more functional and a little bit more aesthetic, so it's a place that I enjoy coming back to even more. I've been steadily trading away with the villagers that are over here by the pumpkin farm, and I have a feeling that we're going to change up this area and maybe make a mine shaft or a storage area at some point. But right now, I think that I have a bit of an itch for building, so let's do something freeform and take a look at what comes out. You know, that only took me a little bit of time, and just like that, we have another mountain cozy cottage, which is nicely accented by another stone path, which I think I did a really good job of the slope as it leads down the mountain. I decided to experiment a little bit with using some walls to add a little bit more texture to the side, but it's really nothing special as we head into the entrance, and you can see we don't really have anything for an interior as well, but that's personally okay with me because I like having a little bit more progress done in the kingdom. And now that I've made these stone pathway designs, it really makes me want to put it in the rest of the pathways around the kingdom too. But I'm not sure if we'll ever get to doing it because eventually we'll move on from this kingdom. I am considering the kingdom of Aapon to be a starter area where we get everything set up for the rest of our time in the world, although we still have a ton more progress to do around here before we can move on. But I was mentioning earlier that I don't really like this gazebo sort of thing, and I don't like the terrain that we have in this area. So I think that we're gonna chop this guy down, and then behind me, over right into the mountain, we're gonna make ourselves a cave where we can have a massive storage area too. If my voice sounds different, it's because I'm kind of sick today, but I hope that you're enjoying the video so far, and if you are, consider leaving a like on the video. It really makes more of a difference than you may know as a small Minecraft content creator. But I say, let's get around to making a simple storage cave. I cannot begin to tell you how immensely satisfied I am by the build that we have behind us. I'm sure that many of you guys can relate to the feeling of having your inventory just strewn all around your world, and that was absolutely the case with me, and so we had to dig into the mountainside a little bit and make a storage area. And I've been putting this off for weeks, but now that we have everything in here and everything all sorted, I'm so glad that we did it. And as you can see in the chest, we actually have a decent amount of items as well. The good news is that we still have plenty of storage space left in the area, and it's located right in the middle of the kingdom, meaning that it's an easy access point for all of our items. And now that we have the ball running, I just can't wait to keep on building in this world. But in order to do that, I think it's just about time that we get a little bit more progressed in terms of the end game, or at least let's get to work at making the nether a little bit more pretty. Well, I do think that I cooked. Right next to our storage area right here, we have a wonderful little cottage that is connected by some more stone pathing, as you can see. And as we walk on up to it, you can see that it has some cool but light texturing when it comes to spruce trap doors. And then we also have some tuff and some cobblestone along with some stone bricks here as well. This time around for the roof, I went with a little bit more of a nuanced design where we have spruce stairs and spruce slabs along with dark oak slabs and dark oak stairs as well. This area where we were building really didn't need that much, but we ended up getting around to a good looking build, I think, and it totally fills in the area as well. We can press the button and head inside to a cool looking interior where we still have to finish off our smelter area, but I really do like the interior that we have with some windows and a place for food and some lecterns with some books in them, or some bookshelves with books in them as well. We have an area where we could cook up food, and then for ores as well, and then some kits and gadgets just all around. And I like how everything fits in together. Eventually, this place will only be lit up by the lava that we have coming into the cauldrons right here, but still haven't gotten around to doing that yet. But before we get to finishing this place, I do think that there is one more thing that I want to do here in the kingdom of Aapon, which is to make all of the pathways that we have in the entire kingdom so far the stone sort of pathing that we have below my feet right here. If we look at the kingdom on the map, you'll see that it's really no easy feat. Most of the pathways that we have right here are not stone whatsoever. I know that it'll be pretty easy to do, and I love making pathways anyway, so I say let's get around to doing that, and then we'll see what the kingdom looks like when we're done. Well, our pathways are complete and are looking quite fine in my personal opinion, but we've been up to a whole ton of other work as well. We have our new cottage, which houses our sugarcane farm, and it's missing a couple of pots from over here due to a creeper explosion. So I guess I can fix them real quick while we're here. If we head inside, we have a really wonderful looking interior with a drop chute on either side that leads down to the sugarcane farm. We have tons of item frames all over the place just for some extra added decoration, and one of our first diamond tools on the wall here too. We also have an amethyst crystal for some extra decoration and some extra chests just in case we need some extra storage. But we can hop on down to the drop chute where we'll be met with a really cool, fascinating looking sugarcane farm. We have some shroom lights and some oak trapdoors for some detailed light around the area. I ended up trying something new and textured the wall with some spruce planks and then some composters and the backside of some looms. But it leads us along our archways over to our sugarcane farm, which is running on both sides. And it's a really lovely farm. I always seem to have some troubles with it at first, but then it starts on producing and then you don't even have to think about sugarcane at all in time. And it's a really lovely farm. I always get the design off of a tutorial from Wisp, and I always have a couple of troubles when I'm making it, but it always ends up running and working really well in the long run. We have the same thing over on this side of the farm, and on both sides we have a stair where we can open our chest and see the sugarcane sugarcane that we have inside, and I have a feeling that I want to put something in this area at some point in time, but I'm just not really sure what it is that I want to do. We have our storage for materials over here, and then over in this direction we have a drop chute, which, just like everywhere else in the kingdom of Aapon, will lead us back up to the first floor, which, as you can see, allows for us to make the most of a small space. And as morning shines lights upon the dew on the plants, you can see that the pathways are just really looking incredible in the entire area. But I've been up to even more progress off camera, or off camera, as B-dubs would say. We can head on down to where our pumpkin farm lies. And now, if we open this door, we'll be met with a fantastic brand new villager trading hall, where we have a mostly completed pond in the middle, and then all of the different villager types of all the different trades that I might want. It might feel a little chaotic in here, but I really do like the vibe, and it's honestly really not too hard to make the trades that I want to with all the villagers just jumping around. Our new trading hall literally sits right next to where the pumpkin farm is, and therefore, just like everywhere so far in the kingdom of Aapon, I do think that we've been up to a good use of space. It is officially day 611 here at the kingdom, and as you can see, it's actually Christmas morning. So a Merry Christmas to you all, and a Happy Holidays to everyone else if you don't celebrate. I've got some extra free time to get things done here on Christmas in the kingdom of Aapon, and so as always, it's time for me to get back to work. I'm really not sure how, but it seems that we happen to have found Marnie once again. It's good to see you, girl. I can't believe it's been such a long time since I last saw you. Actually, haven't seen Marnie since the last time I saw Etat, which has been a while now. And so I must say that it feels good to have some company here at the kingdom of Aapon. You can also see that now that the snow is gone, this guy has been up to a whole ton of work around here. We'll eventually be expanding the kingdom, so we've started to make ourselves a bridge over to a new region, although I'm going to keep my plans for what it's going to be as a secret at the moment. But as you can see, we still have plenty of texturing that we need to get done on the bridge, or our monorail to put it better. As you can see, all in the distance, we have a railway going throughout the entire area over to our new region. But I think that we'll get around to detailing this build at a later point in time, because at the moment, I think that I want to start on another major build. You see, the wonderful Minecraft content creator Simply Knight has recently made a massive tunnel and made another portal with a tree into the mountainside, and I think that I want to be doing the same somewhere in this mountain area. Now, I'm not exactly sure what I want this mountain tunnel to look like just yet, but I say that the only way to find out is to start digging. Well, I think that Marnie agrees that we've gotten a whole ton of work done behind us. Our mountain over here has totally been caved into, and although I do happen to have diamond tools, it still takes a long time without a beacon. You will see that I've left some emerald ore blocks so that we can still touch them up later. But besides knowing that I want to do something with these 3 emerald ore blocks at some point in time, I have no idea what I want to do with the archway to this tunnel. I guess I do know that the tunnel is going to be 23 blocks in width and 37 blocks in height, meaning that this guy is going to be a big project, and we'll get to it little bit by little bit over time. But I do think that I want to hop into build school and get an idea for the arches of the tunnel that we're going to be making. So we'll get around to doing that, maybe prop the arches around in the area so that we have an idea of where to dig out, and then I think that we're going to get up to something pretty exciting. Well, as you've seen, after a couple of hours in creative, this is going to be a lot bigger of a project than we were originally thinking. So we'll have to hold off on this project for another day, but that's okay with me because this lovely kingdom has plenty that we can work on. There's a whole lot that we can do with all the nooks and crannies that we have in the areas like this right here. And although we want to expand the kingdom at some point, we want this kingdom to be as detailed as possible at the same. So as the sun sets in this beautiful kingdom, in the beautiful lands of Aapon, say, let's get back to work. Well, it does seem to me that the theme of today's episode is starting projects that are a bit beyond our capacity. For as you've seen, we ended up hopping onto build school and we got to see Wreckjaw and a couple of other friends, but the design that we ended up making for our tunnel area over here is just way too big for us to do in one episode. Even starting to lay down the infrastructure is going to be too time consuming for me to want to do at the moment. But as you can see, as I was thinking about what I wanted to do next in the episode, we got around to making a bit of a wheat field that's in progress right here. I have placed down all of the seeds to my name, and so we'll continue to fill in the field over time. You can see that we have a nice retaining wall with tons of different stone blocks. And by tons, I just mean stone brick slabs, cobblestone slabs, and stone slabs. But I know that we're not done completing this area yet, but I must say that whenever this guy is going to be completed, it's going to fill in the entire kingdom so much. Making paths and creating farmland are two for-sure ways of making your area look really beautiful and in a short period of time as well. But as we add on to the list of things to do here in the Kingdom of Aapon, I must say I really do love how the area is coming together. We're honestly at a point of being ready to beat the game, and I was considering doing it in this episode, but I think we may hold off. We'll have to see what happens. For as many of you know, although I'm a big planner in Minecraft, every once in a while when it comes to the game progression related things, I definitely like to wing it. So I say let's continue to work on the kingdom, maybe put some more builds into this area, or who knows, maybe even take on the end dragon. I guess that I'll find out now, and you'll find out with me as we get into another cinematic. The especially with the entire build just being off the top. I like how everything has come out so far, and a lot of people would call it there, but I'm not a lot of people, and there's still a whole lot more texturing and detailing that I want to do to the build. So I've kind of decided that I'm going to bring you with me for the final touches, which starts off usually with some campfires, which we of course take out with our shovels, and it makes a big difference with adding a little bit more detail to the area. We'll kind of just do it in places that seem like they could need it, and some places, just like here, could even use too. So we'll extinguish these bad boys. We can also come in with a couple of these pots where eventually we'll put in flowers, which always adds a little bit of extra pop to your builds, as you can instantly tell. Although I only like to put them into the nooks and corners if you can. You can crouch down and place a flower pot inside, and then a blue orchid as well, and it just instantly spices up everything. As you can see, we've already textured with barrels, which really breaks up the blocky feeling to a build. We're actually gonna head on up to the roof, where I say that you should never be afraid of putting some flower pots with some flowers on top of your roof line as well. It seems that I'm out of flowers in my hands at the moment, so we'll just place them down on the edge of the outer lining of the roof, and then we can come on in with your saplings or a flower or whatever you want to, and it adds to the texture line and the color as well. I oftentimes put them up here and exchange them with the lanterns that I have on the top of my roof line here, but this time I just don't feel like doing so. Although depending on your layer of slabs, it can be nice to put them up here as well, especially if we wanted to add some height variation to the middle of the roof line. And you can always switch up the colors and plants that you use, but oftentimes I try to just keep it consistent. The main reason is out of laziness, but at the same time, when you're playing in survival, it can be kind of hard to get so many different flowers, or at least early game that is. And then one other thing that's really nice is to line the entrance to your build, whether it be with some wood and fences or an item frame, which is what I like to personally do, which shows exactly what the build is about. And we haven't done the interior yet, but I think that maybe we'll make a brewing area out of this build here. I have decided to go with glass panes as opposed to glass blocks because they split into the middle of the block too, and as it rains, it still will add some extra texture to your build too. Or maybe depth is a better word, but I do also want to mention that there's a whole ton that you can do with leaves. For example, we can place down a fence and a leaf here to have a mini tree, and who knows, we'll try our best to see if we can do the same on this side. Although you definitely want to have shears in hand because you might not always be happy with all of the choices that you make, but I do think that we can maybe place another one right here, and we'll place another one right here just for good measure, and then maybe a third one right here that goes too tall, and I think that I'll move this one back as well and it'll go here instead. And so just like that, we have some mini trees, some mini bushes in the area, and then we're gonna head back on up to the top where we'll place the first layer of some leaves that we'll have spiraling down here. We'll actually dig into the wall here diagonally and then place in some leaves, which will fill in the roof even more. We'll do the same here and there and just a little bit everywhere on the roof. And then we can come down here and then in a spiral fashion where I kind of go two down and then one out and then take out the two leaves right here. We can start to have a diagonal way that spirals down. For example, I think that I want to have my next block be one down, one out, and then one to the left right here. And so I can go like that. I can take out the two temporary blocks and it'll continue to flow down just like it's a part of the wind. We'll actually take out this trap door and we'll finish off the wind pile there. And we'll do the same thing a couple of times and then take out the spares, and we'll be left with something that we can start to work with more. And then as it rains again, we can place a couple of lanterns to give some extra light detail to the area. But I think we'll head to sleep for the night. Air out the backside of the build a little bit. Come around in here to extend the path. We can and fill it in with stone as well. And now, if you really want to, it's as simple as just coming in with some bone meal and bringing this entire area to life. So we'll go around the area without thinking about it too much at first. And now that we've used up all of our bone meal, you can see that the entire area now just has a much more wild, rugged vibe. If I wanted to, just like in some of these areas right here, I can come around with shears and then I can collect up the ferns from them. And then I can place them down individually as single grass, which will make your area look a little bit more tame, which is something that I think that we'll do in the occasional area, like at the entrance to the house here. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as one tall grass, one away from the path, and then as we go a little bit more farther away from the path, I'll leave it as two tall, which will kind of close in the area. And this brewing area is not a part of the main kingdom, at least as of now, which everything happens to be over in this direction, so we'll leave things looking a little bit more wild at the moment. But just like that, we have the exterior of a cool looking little brewing cottage and a nice pathway that goes all the way down to where our city is going to be with our railway that we have here. But of course, we are not done yet, because if we head on over, as I've already mentioned, to the interior, we have nothing really here except for just a couple of item frames, which I'm going to get around to doing at the moment, and I bet that I can do it faster than you can say subscribe. And just like that, we have a brand new interior for our brewing cabin. I must say, my favorite part may just be this ominous potion that we have on the wall, but we can open the door to head inside to a pretty looking little interior, and then we can take a step forward to a little bit of a cooking and a cleaning area. This is our miniature kitchen. A really nice trick that I like using is hanging a banner into a cauldron with water, and it kind of just makes a little wash your hands sort of area. And then on this side we have another table with a plant and some bushes right here, and one interesting thing is I just decided to use a sea pickle on top because I have 3 of them, and why don't you use them? We have a miniature storage area right here. One thing I highly recommend doing is taking trapdoors and just lining in your barrels to just kind of condense them into the area. And then right here, we just have a miniature reading little area. This is nothing in particular. Maybe these will hold potion books as we continue in the survival world, but you don't really need a lot, just some extra item frames. I really just place down things and see what happens with it. And then it is also worth mentioning that for the floor design, we have deep slate and cobbled deep slate along with tuff and some mud right here. I think that this area really works, and in particular, I also like that if we open the door, it has a nice outer pathway over to our train area. I know that there are a lot of builders that really only focus on the front-facing side, on the thumbnail zone of their build, but as someone that likes to live in their world, I say, why not try to make it feel as immersive throughout, which is what we're trying to do here at the Kingdom of Aapon. I'm gonna run away from this guy, and there he goes down. I still have kept this area to the right pretty tame here, and the reason being is this is kind of our work area, and I still don't know what I want to do with everything in here yet. But that's okay. We're starting to close in this area with the path, and as we get to making our tunnel, I'm sure that things will come together. But I must say, I'm quite happy with everything that we've been able to get done here this episode here in the Kingdom of Aapon. We really seem to have gotten some good weather here in the winter months. And Marnie, excitingly, in the new year, you and I both will head over into this direction and we'll start to make a city. As long as we can keep Aapon safe, that is. But for now, in order to make that happen, say, let us get work. I mean, I like it, or at At least I think I do. I've been inspired by Moonglow here in the survival world, and I just want to bring some extra life to it. So right over here, we have tons of pillars just in the water and on the land, and I have a feeling that we're not yet done building on this area for the day. But I really am open to all of your ideas and feedback in the comments. But I do have a feeling that by the end of this episode, not only this area, but some other areas of this world will be deserving of the like button, if not my handsome looks, my good charm, and my even better sense of humor. But I kind of just felt like building, and so I hopped into Build School, which is our creative world where myself and a bunch of other creators get to just build incredible things together. And all that I knew was that I kind of wanted a thin, vertical looking little statue that I could repeat plenty of times in an array. And so we have this kind of cool looking design right here, and as we continue to fill in the area, I do think that I want to give a bit of a story or a background to this too. I have a feeling that I want this place to be a refurbished garden or a refurbished park where this is a bundle of ruins left from an olden time from a people of whom we'll have to create a history together. But each one of these pillars is a donation, an offering to their higher being. And maybe, better yet, all of the nooks and crannies, all of the slopes that the stairs have in the pillars represent all of the challenges, all of the twists and turns that life will take you as you try to grow into the biggest fruit of yourself, that greater self that is part and parcel of everything that we have here in this beautiful world and in this beautiful region in the kingdom of Aapon. So we'll have to continue to refine this area throughout the episode, but it may come as no surprise that besides my levels, I'm actually feeling a little bit poor in this world. If possible, it would be helpful to try to find some diorite so that we can get to building our tunnel. But at the very least, to do any more work around this area, we're going to need some more stone and cobblestone, maybe to extend the pillars, but just to fill in the entire area. I'm still not sure if I want to keep these pillars that are in the water right here. I love how they look up close, but I'm not really sure from afar. But while I go and collect some materials and think about how I want to fit this build into the world here in Aapon, I hope that you enjoy a brief cinematic and a quick message from this video's sponsor, which, if you haven't guessed already, is myself. What can you buy for $3? A bag of Lay's potato chips? Nope. $4. What about a package of Oreos? Nope, it's $5 whole. But what if I told you that you could get 12 exclusive videos, 3 loyalty badges, and an exclusive advanced replay mod tutorial for the price of $3? It's true. It's for real, for real. Members also get other exclusive perks, but you would know that if you remember. Consider joining the channel today. Well, I must say, I'm really glad that we have that infrastructure set in place now, because coming over to this birch forest only takes about a minute or so, where it would take me maybe 3 or 4 on foot. And yes, I do know it still looks ugly. We have a lot of work to do, but we still have forever to do it, right? But we can head down our staircase because I'm realizing that we're going to need a little bit of birch for the build. And so while I chop down some wood, I wanted to start to implement a comment of the day section for the video. Definitely one of my favorite things about doing YouTube is getting to respond to your comments and getting to connect with you all. And so, as with every comment of the day, if you ever have anything that you want me to answer and you want to be a part of a video, consider leaving a comment in the description below. But our first comment of the day for this series comes in from a good buddy of mine named Cuboid, and he asks, Slip, how do you make so many high quality videos at such a fast pace? Which also, by the way, we have a new mini series that's going on in the Forever World on this island that we have over here, where I sit down and talk and play stranded on that island for an hour or so and respond to your comments on the second channel as well. And there are definitely many ways that I could respond to this question, but The overlying factor is that I just put in the work. You see now, by this point in time, I've maybe made over 300 videos. And for sure, when I started, I was astounded by how quickly other people were able to make videos, like the pace that they did. And if I'm being honest, I do remember looking up online, how do people make so many videos? Like, how can I get faster at doing this myself without sacrificing quality as much as possible, of course? And of course, I found out online that some people pay to have video editors, but as a small guy, I didn't have the money or any income source from YouTube that would make that worth it or justifiable. And of course, what that left me to do was to just try my best to learn the skills. And honestly, what I learned was that by focusing on just trying to make the best quality videos that I could over time, I found all these kind of nicks and tricks and tools of the trade that made me a faster video editor as well. And then the faster that I could edit, the more that I could put onto my plate and be able to manage at the same time. But if I'm being honest, that's only one part of the story, because I think that part of the hidden part of the message that many people maybe just don't recognize when it comes to getting better at video editing is that when people say putting in the time, they mean that they're standing or sitting in front of the computer for hours and hours. That builds up over months and years, and you can see yourself get better at the process. But it's not necessarily glamorous, and not everyone is willing to sacrifice a Friday or Saturday night out. Not even playing their favorite video game that they make videos on, but just video editing and doing the boring parts and, sacrificing and those sorts of commitments. And that's what I've done for just about 2 years now, and sacrificed a lot in order to get better. And it's been worth it for me because I'm this sort of person that wanted this in their life and it really enjoys getting better at it, but it really isn't for everyone. And so there's a silver lining that the more that you do this, the reality is you can put out more videos and figure out ways to be more efficient with your time and, make less mistakes as a commentator or as a video editor or whatever it be. But at the same time, you do have to... You do have to sacrifice, and not everyone is willing to do that, I think. I think that a good example is that when I first started off on YouTube, I watched video after video about how to do certain effects and transitions and all of the kind of gadgets to make my videos better. And when I was doing that at first, some of the videos, especially like keyframing, doing certain effects, it was just out of my knowledge of Premiere Pro. But then the more that I figured out other skills, the more that those skills that were too much for me at first came to be recognizable, and I was able to figure those out. And then by that time, when I was figuring out new skills, I was getting faster and more efficient and finding out more tools as to how to include those aspects within my videos without it eating up as much of my time. And I'm definitely nowhere near perfect. And something that has been on the forefront of my mind recently is how can I continue to maximize that efficiency and really make out as many videos as I can, in particular here in the survival world, because I want to do so much, but you only have so much time in the day, right? So what can I do to make videos that I'm proud of, but and have that quality that makes me satisfied, but at the same time is gotten out on a quick and consistent basis is something that I still struggle with, but I can definitely attest to the fact that you do get a lot better with time. And as you get better with time, you can either, decide to use that time and reinvest in yourself and make more videos, which is what I do. Or eventually, I think as you get to like a full-time content creation standpoint, then you can also take a little bit of work off your hands, and you've learned the skills and you know how to make extra videos that you want for yourself, but then you also have the funds to have a video editor that can cut out the fluff, and you just add on the little bits and bobs that you want. But until you get there, I think the best case scenario is just to spend a lot of time in Premiere Pro, and eventually you find that your YouTube income, or at least for me, pays for my Premiere Pro income, where I had to invest in myself and was paying to make these Minecraft videos technically, or to edit anything. It's not the case anymore, but that's only because I spent many hours to justify my ability to get, reward out of, I was so loud, you sheep, out of the program and out of editing and everything. So fantastic question. I do think that we are probably good on our birch logs over there. And I say, why don't we make the most of our new monorail and head back over to the mountainside. And I must say, the kingdom of Aapon really looks beautiful as the sun sets into the horizon. But we'll pull up upon our most recent build here in the kingdom, which is kind of our cottage as the send-off to our monorail. But I'm gonna head to sleep for the night, which of course, I think it's funny that all of us builders, we build these incredible things, and there's a house right next to me, but instead, I decided to just sleep on the floor outside. Now, our carved-in mountain is looking beautiful, and after today, I think that we'll have even more of an idea of what we're going to be going for in this area. You can see that we have some chests and a furnace right here, but in the middle one, we have all of the materials that we're going to start with, including tons of iron and some diorite and then some smooth quartz and quartz. So you can see that we're going for a white build palette here, and I'm very excited for this. As I've said before, the inspiration for this build is going to be coming from Simply Knight, who is a wonderful content creator himself. But just as always, when you're inspired by another Minecraft YouTuber, usually the project that you end up doing after is a little bit bigger than you thought you were going to chew off at first. So I'm going to give you all a quick sneak peek of an idea of what we're going to be going for this tunnel build. This right here is just the entranceway, and it is quite an elaborate build. As you can see, it's going to carve straight into the mountaintop, and the arches on the entrance with the slabs are quite incredible as well. I spent a whole lot of time in build school just coming up with and designing this, and this is one of the biggest builds that I've ever made, meaning that we're not going to be doing the entirety of this entrance today. We're instead just going to do the first segment here, which will give us a good idea of how tall we need to dig into the mountain as we continue to collect resources in the kingdom. So I say, let's get along to doing that, and we can take a look together about how big this tunnel is really going to be. Now it's been about 45 minutes of my time, and just look at this tunnel entrance. We've literally only done the first layer, and the entire area is completely transformed. I mean, if we look in here, it's literally one layer, and man, this tunnel is big. It is going to be a massive project, which, if I'm being honest, makes me want to just dive into it and do layer after layer and see how far we can get. But that is not the purpose of today's episode, which, may I remind you, is the little park area over that way. But now that this is in the game, I must say I'm quite proud of what I've been able to create. And our palette here is a couple of diorite blocks along with some iron blocks, which is so expensive. And then we also have some quartz every once in a while too. And for all of you that are wondering, Slip, where are all of the other layers with the slabs? Well, my response is, with each column that we go in, we have extra layers with the slabs that make a really cool design in the long run. So I think that we'll get around to doing one column every single episode and just see how far we can get over time. And I will say, making that first layer was about 35 minutes of my time, but then I had to go and get even more diorite, and what I did was place a bunch of temporary blocks right here, which what that did was give me a feel of the area. So now the next time I want to go material collecting or extend this tunnel area, I know that this is going to be our work zone, which I gotta say is not too shabby of a work zone to work in. One thing that is dreadfully apparent is that we do need to connect the pathway down here up to here somehow and just make it easier to get up and down. But I think that that's going to be a problem for future Slip. But you can see that from afar, our new tunnel is just so intimidating. It's so big looking. It's really great when everything else that we have in the area is quite small, to have a really massive, just a really big looking build in the area. However, we're going to come along down to the monorail to do a bit of texturing work. As you can see, this guy has a decent, interesting, not my favorite design, but it'll work, and it's looking ugly because of the fact that it's only cobblestone at the moment. I really do think that doing some texturing work can detail any arch, and that if you have a good build or a decent kind of like build infrastructure, then whenever you place on the other blocks, it just brings everything else to life, which you don't have to believe me now, but I'm gonna set a timer for 1 hour and get to work, and then we'll check in and you'll have to let me know what we think. Well, 1 hour can easily lead into 2, but as you can see by these awesome arches that we have in the distance, it looks really good around here. I've gone for a texturing design that I've used many times in the kingdom, whether it be on the paths over right here, maybe a little bit of extra mossy around for our bridge, but really just some stone bricks and some stone and then some cobblestone. You really don't need anything else, and you mix them all together in a mosaic pattern and you get something that looks pretty good, I think. However, one of the main things that I ended up changing about our monorail that I like the most about it is that now that we have spruce trapdoors along with different types of walls and stone slabs going along the line, and it adds an extra arch, and it just really fits the whole monorail in well, I think. We can, of course, just get into the minecart and press the button, and then we're off to the races. And as you can see, it goes quite a long way until it drops off and goes to our prototype design over here. But the monorail design has a wonderful look at the kingdom as we end up coming into it. And the more that I play in this world, the more that I try to prevent myself from beating the game and getting myself a pair of wings. The reason being that my world will lose some sort of appeal after I end up beating the game for the first time. Which, by the way, this area here might be my favorite part about having the monorail. I decided, you know what, why not just go over our pathway, and then whenever we want to just go by foot, we'll have some incredible arches to walk in between. And the monorail ends up going over the path twice, and the path also kind of just gets a little bit shorter as a result. And it is absolutely so beautiful to just walk through. But I did say that after a little bit of texture work that the monorail would look better, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. However, we are not yet done with building in this area. We're gonna start on off by paving out a path. The reason being, I want to connect this area and make a staircase so that we can lead ourselves on up to the monorail. But at the same time, I do feel like this area could use with a better platform to get to the top. So I'm gonna be lazy and work around our workstation blocks and then fill in with our normal stone pattern until our path is looking how it normally does. I do also think that we'll try to make the path 3 wide right here and extend it down like this, and then maybe try to ease the way that we walk up here. But of course we have a baby zombie running my way. Like, we keep getting attacked by these guys today, and I just don't want to attack him right now. But man, this guy has a lot of health. But as I was saying, I actually think that we're gonna go and double up with our blocks. That way we can smoothen the incline of our path, and we can also border in the side with some stone, just 1 up or half a block up like that, as well as maybe make a pillar on the side like so. And then I actually do think that I'm gonna go with the stairway design that we had here. So we can bring in our stone like this and maybe a slab here. But then actually at the same time, it does seem kind of important to continue to go along like this. And in this fashion, our staircase will have a retaining wall on the side too. And then actually that is looking really good. So we're going to continue and do the exact same thing right on this side. And what I'm doing is really just going in with full blocks and then going half a block up from the last one. And now, just like that, we have a closed-in curved pathway that leads on up to the monorail. Now, I do think that I do need to put a wall and maybe a slab on top just to close in the area here. We can, of course, place down some flowers as well. And then maybe to switch it up, I'm going to place 1 more wall right there and come in with the fence and with the sign. However, besides that, I do think that we've gotten a good amount of progress done on the monorail for today's episode. I almost kind of like the fact that the packages and my workstation blocks are standing in front of the entrance. It's like, well, it's still not open, which yes, technically that's true. But if I'm being honest with you, I'm really happy about how the entire area is coming out. Everything is really starting to move together, and we're starting to get away from the ugly part of this kingdom. Now we're going to turn our attention away from this amazing transition region and head on off to the opposite edge of the kingdom, because it's about time that we get back to the main focus of today's episode. Now, looking at it here, I think that one of the main problems I have with this area is the pillars that we have in the water. I think that having them in too much of an array form, especially into the water as well, is taking away from that working with the land sort of vibe. However, before I do that, I'm going to unleash the lethal weapon for today's build, which, as you can tell, is the mighty sweetberry. There's really not too many things that add the perfect flair of red on the ground, and I think that if we were to enclose this area with an enclosing wall, an encapsulating wall, a wall, I guess. If we have a border wall and then do diagonal rows of sweetberries, and then maybe potentially some peonies also diagonal with them too, then these guys could be the perfect purple and pink sauce to flare up this area. And then who knows, maybe we'll do something else with the terrain as well. I do see that we have some gravel, which we might be able to flare up a little bit, but I don't think that I'm going to exchange all of the stone in the area. If I'm being honest, it just seems like too much work given the amount of time that I have for today's episode. And honestly, I'm not too worried about how we'll be able to work with the terrain as well. But unfortunately, you are going to have to go, of course, just to make space for better things. And while we take down these pillars, I did want to mention one thing, or I guess I had a question that I have to ask all of you, or maybe just something to share. I'm not sure, but I am noticing that although we're getting plenty of things done in the world, we're not necessarily completing one build or having one thumbnail worthy thing. I mean, this will be thumbnail worthy by the time that we're done, I think. But I am not doing any mega builds yet, especially until we're ready, and there is a reason for that. And the reason for that is that I've been posting content every other week, so every 2 weeks for the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. And I used to be creating weekly content, and I do know that I'm capable of making weekly content, but also, given all of the things that are on my plate, in order to do it, these videos, we'd have to be a little bit more connection worthy, or they would have to be a little bit more connection worthy. And as opposed to spending so many extra hours doing cinematics and whatnot, I would have to lay lower on the cinematics and kind of focus a little bit more on getting things done in the world, which is something that I kind of feel like doing at the moment. And so if you're enjoying the video, then you'd probably enjoy the rest of them. But I'd love to know what you all think about that so that maybe we can hang out more on the YouTube sphere together. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, because don't get me wrong, there is definitely something great about having a successful video that you've worked on for weeks and weeks. But at the same time, there's also something nice about not putting too much pressure on yourself and just getting, cool projects done like this in the world, and seeing things compound on itself over time. And I guess that I want to mention that there was a time, not, too long ago, that I really wasn't that in love with everything that we have here in our kingdom. And I'm very lucky to have had the time recently in order to make a lot of changes and edits in order to get the kingdom of Aapon into a place where I'm much more satisfied with how things are coming together. There's this YouTuber named Moonglow who I've been watching a lot recently, and I think that his prerogative was to kind of just connect and to build things and show what's going on in his world. And it's something that I would like to do with you all as well, as frequently as possible, without having to focus on the mega build and having to have the uber successful video and having more low-key videos just like this. So it looks like we still have one more sneaky guy right there, along with one more sneaky guy in the ocean here too. But this does get me to thinking maybe we'll make ourselves a pond, or accentuate this area here. Having the pillar in the area makes me think that I want to do that. And of course, I miss one other one that's in the water too. Although we haven't beaten the game, it feels actually really great to really not worry about progression whatsoever during this episode. I know that for me as a builder, I get immense satisfaction about actually being able to do the process and build these things. And so for me, in many ways, I'm still in that phase where I'm still trying to build lots of infrastructure so that I can then go around and get to building whatever it is that I want to build. But I do think that having the pillars only on the land makes all of the difference here. But as many of you know, it wouldn't be a slip video if I didn't get around to making a cinematic, partially because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with this area yet. But I know that the final product is going to look incredible, especially I think with having all of the sweet berries and peonies that we have growing over there. So I say, let's take one last look at this interesting looking peninsula before we're done with it, and then we can take ourselves a tour and see everything that we've gotten up to. Well, it's been a bit of time, and I wanted to give a progress update because, as you can see, the land has definitely changed around us. This entire area up here used to completely be stone, and we've kind of smoothed out the area all around just to make it look prettier and to fit everything into. While doing all of this, we've been harvesting some sweet berries too, and so the farm has expanded. And I'm doing something I've never done before by only doing 1 block wide pathways, and I'm very excited to see how it turns out. We're going to be using spruce trapdoors, some chiseled stone bricks, stone slabs, and stone brick slabs to fill everything in. And I was thinking about using cobblestone in the path as we've kind of used with everything, but I think that since this is going to be a refurbished area, we want the pathway to be a bit more refined, although I still kind of am going in a mosaic pattern where I put things in diagonals and then in bunches every once in a while. But as you can see, as soon as we put in some of our other blocks, it just starts to fill in immediately. And with this area finished off, you can see the design that we're going for. You can also see that we have plenty of sweet berries, and so what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go in a diagonal fashion just like this, and then hopefully if we have enough peonies or enough bone blocks, we're going to go one diagonally, 1 block just diagonally from the sweet berries, and we're going to take our peonies and line them just like this too. I'm very excited to see what happens when we experiment with the red and the light pink, and this area really is starting to come together. Along with, if I'm feeling ambitious, we do have something over here too. We have a miniature lake where we could add a dock here, or just maybe add some lily pads and some extra decorations. But as you can tell, we definitely have our work cut out for us. I'm definitely excited to continue to make this beautiful biome even more beautiful. I mean, we're already over day 800, and I feel like we're just getting started in this world, but enough yapping for me. We have plenty of work to get done, and in my opinion, the more that I think about it, an incredible story to bring to this world. Now, this by far has to be one of the best builds that I've ever made. This sacred land of the gods has been refurbished by the kingdom of Aapon, and honestly, it's a build that I'd be happy to visit in real life. We've maintained our sweetberry farm over here. On top of our border wall, I ended up doing another wall with stone brick walls and fences every once in a while, and what it does is it adds some extra color, and then it also makes the stone brick walls look a little bit different too. It adds a little bit of an extra bump or takes away from the bump of the wall. But generally speaking, it just closes in the area nicely. Over near the front of the park, we have a dock, which is really nothing special. We have a mini lantern and then tons of spruce blocks and then an outer rim with some oak trapdoors. I made sure to line the entranceway with some spruce trapdoors as well, kind of just to make the area entrance a little bit more closed in. And then you can see as we walk around, the entire park is just beautiful beautiful with our path and with the sweet berries and with the peonies. It's one of those flower parks where you kind of just get lost while you're in it. And if you need a space to take your mind off of things, this is definitely the space to do it. I really did do my best to try not to place sweet berries right on the edge, because every once in a while, if you're not careful, you'll still get pricked by the sweet berries. But I guess right now, there we go. I'm being a little bit careful. This area leads out to our lake area, which, as you can tell, I've done a little bit of work refurbishing as well. We have a little storage area to hold your things, and we have a table in case you want to put your fishing gear somewhere. There's another area where you can fish over there if you'd like, or if you just want to have a picnic out on the lake, you're more than welcome to do so as well. Our mini dock is nothing special as well, but it really brings the area together, I think. And if we ever go fishing for a live stream in the future, I think that this dock is going to be the spot to do it as well. But I really am so happy with how this entire park has come together. The spires really do seem to reach out to the heavens, and honestly, it's such a good feeling taking myself away from the grind about building houses and all the different things over in the main region of Aapon, and just focusing on something that makes me want to come back to this world. If you would like to add a little bit of story to this park, or give it a name, or kind of explain how it fits into the region and the story of everything that we have coming on here, please do consider leaving a comment below. And if you're still here, I really appreciate you. Let me know what you think of this particular sort of video style, and I will hopefully see you in just about a week or so. If I'm being honest, I've said it again, and I'll say it before, but I think that our brand new park is my favorite part of the kingdom that we have here. It really is so pretty, and I think that it fits perfectly into the mountain biome as well. Although, of course, it starts to rain, but although you haven't seen it, I've been up to some pretty hard work behind the scenes here at the Kingdom of Aapon. For one, we've completely finished filling in the wheat field that we made from about 2 episodes ago. I must say, this wheat field is a whole lot bigger than how big I thought it was at first. But slowly and surely, behind the scenes, we've filled in the entire field, and now it sits pretty below, with the thunder there, below the mountainside here. But I do think that I'm gonna head to sleep for the night and get away from this thunderstorm, and with a beautiful rainbow in the sky that tells me that we're set up for a pretty good episode here. Now it is officially day 862 in the world, and I have no idea how long this episode may go, but I will say that in this episode, we may go and try to take on the end, which is a big step forward for me as a Minecraft player, but also for the playthrough as well. I just have a feeling that the more that we work on this massive tunnel, the more that I'm gonna want an elytra, but I'm really trying to hold off on getting it because I'm trying to take things as slow as possible here in this forever world. But as always, we have plenty of work to do here at the Kingdom of Aapon. If we head into this chest, you'll see that I've been busy collecting tons of materials for the tunnel, but also as a factor of having dug out a couple of layers of the tunnel, we have tons of stone materials as well. So I'm gonna fire up a live stream, and we'll either continue to do some paving around the kingdom, or we'll add a couple of layers to the tunnel that I have behind me. Well, it is always fun to get to hang out with some friends on livestream. As you can see, we started to get to work on paving out a tunnel from behind the windmill over to where our park area lies. It heads out on this side, and of course we'll get around to putting some arches and whatnot in the area, but we have a winding path that just goes around through the mountains and runs along where an enemy outpost has been established. Now, it seems like things are starting to get tense here in the region, so we're gonna have to be cautious, but we do have this winding path that goes around through the mountains and starts to go over towards where the path is, or I mean, where the park is, and it's really nothing too special, but it takes a lot of time to try to make these pathways through the mountains. It's a lot more difficult than doing them in the plains or anything like that, so I'm definitely happy with the progress that we've made over there. But as you've seen, we've also done some more path work over in this area of the kingdom too. And while we do that, I did just want to give a special thanks to Cobb, Etat, Jay Figsy, and Simply Night for heading into our live stream today. They're all wonderful Minecraft content creators, and Simply Night is actually the inspiration for the tunnel that we have in this area here. So it was wonderful to be able to get to show that to him. But in all reality, they're some of my favorite Minecraft content creators and are some of the people that I watch the most. So if you're wondering on who some of my inspirations are personally, I definitely recommend you taking a look at their channels. Man, well, I messed up the ending of that sentence, but over here, past where the monorail lies, we have a building. It's actually Indiana Animate's cottage. And so we've continued the pathway over past the monorail over in this direction, which I did also just want to mention. One of my favorite things about the monorail is how we have the path just going through it. It's so wonderful just to be able to go underneath the arches, which is honestly something that I've probably mentioned before, but I just can't get over it. But this time, the pathway that we made on stream continues all the way over down towards Indiana's base right here, which it's honestly a very cozy little cottage, and I don't show it off enough in this world, but I did just want to give you all an update on our path building. But I do think that we're going to do a little bit more pathway work, and then we're going to start to do another layer of our tunnel. Well, it really didn't take too much work, but now we have a little mineshaft tunnel behind us. And as you can see, I've also gotten around to exchanging our path blocks with stone blocks. My intention here was really to make nothing special, but then I realized that I had 16 lecterns still to my name, and so I decided to put them in, and I really do think it's exactly what this tunnel needed. So we have the lectern in each area, along with a lantern on the side too, and I've also gotten around to texturing the stone path and the stone walls as well. We have spruce stairs and trapdoors right here, and then more spruce trapdoors on the ceiling, and then one little thing that I did is that we have cobblestone on the path right here, but not on the wall area. And the idea behind that is that people happen to use this tunnel here in the kingdom of Aapon. So over time, the stone has broken down and turned into cobblestone. Now, eventually, I'm sure that we'll have more paths leading down from around over here, over past our wheat field and over into the park area. But for now, it's gonna be nice to have this cozy little tunnel area so that we can get around, because I must say it takes so long getting around in the mountains with all of the slopes. And so these pathway designs, including the ones that we have going on over to the park, are really helpful for just actual transportation, meaning that they're not just an accessory in this lovely world. And so we'll get to expanding along in this area, maybe even in this episode, but I'm not quite sure yet. However, there is one thing that I do know that I want to do, and that is to get even more progress done on our massive diorite tunnel. This guy is already starting to look incredibly intimidating in the mountainside, but we have plenty of more work and many more layers to put in here. And as I've said, I'm going to be getting a little bit of progress in every single episode. So I say, let's put out our YouTube videos, maybe bring Marnie along for the ride so she can hang out with us for a little bit, and get back to work, see how much progress we can get done. Now, I love how this tunnel is coming together. It is so big, it is so massive, and you might be able to tell as well that you can see the sunlight just glistening down through the cracks in the stairs. And so you could say that I'm feeling very proud of myself. As you can see, we went in and did a couple more layers of the wall, and the replay mod cinematic was 2.5 hours. So we got a good amount done, and you can see that we started on these layers too, but they're gonna have to wait for another day. I think that you can kind of tell that each one of these arches that we have right here is on another layer of our entrance, and so this was definitely a difficult and time-consuming build to make. And our tunnel will continue through the mountainside, and then maybe eventually it'll continue down over to the right, over this way. Who knows? But this is a forever world, so I'm leaving that potential out there. And as you can see, the palette that we have is birch logs and diorite, along with polished diorite and iron blocks, and then we have some chiseled quartz up here. But you can already tell as we get inside here that it's just going to be beautiful as we continue to work on this place over time. But for now, we're going to head away from our wonderful tunnel for a little bit, and we're going to head off in the direction of the pathways that we just made, because I do think that I'd like to establish some lighting in this area. We now have plenty of iron, so no need for torches anymore. And while we do that, I think it's perfect time for today's comment of the day as well. And today's comment of the day comes in from Golden Recluse, who asks, out of everything that you've created, what's left the biggest impact on you? That could be Minecraft or real life. And I must say that is a mighty good question. Now, I think that out of all of the experiences that I've been able to have in life, going and traveling abroad a couple of times have been the most impactful for me. For those of you that don't know, I studied religion when I was in college, and I got to go to India and Bolivia in order to study religion, and seeing different worldviews and different ways of how other people would live their life was very impactful on me. And I learned about how so much conflict and so much love in the world just boils down to religion at the end of the day. And my travels and the things that I ended up learning from those travels is actually the reason that I happen to wear the skin that I do in Minecraft. This is the robe of a Tibetan monk, and I got to study Tibetan Buddhism when I was in India. And Tibetan Buddhism is very, very much a champion of love and compassion for all beings. But personally, I really don't like speaking badly about other people. I try to keep things as upbeat and realistic. Come on. As possible. There we go, finally. And one thing that I think a lot of people talk about when it comes to doing YouTube is A, number to success, and then B, when it comes to hate. Because I do think that there are a lot of people that have YouTube channels and then they get plenty of comments and plenty of people that are disrespectful, or people online that they even happen to meet through the internet that are also disrespectful towards them. And I really am so lucky in that my community, the people that hang out in our Discord and Sub Sanctuary, which you're always more than welcome to join, or here in the YouTube comments, everyone that I get to interact with is so upbeat and positive. I do think that it's a testament to the way that I try to interact with people and communicate with people, because I am definitely a believer that when you smile at the world smiles back. And so just about coming up on 2 years ago, I ended up making this Minecraft channel, and lo and behold, I have now hundreds of people and thousands of people that are calm and warm and supportive and upbeat and cheer me on to do this YouTube thing. And it makes me feel so valued and seen and appreciated, and I don't feel alone, and I feel respected and all of the wonderful things. And I had never expected that when I started off with this YouTube thing in the first place. And so regardless of all of the different things that I've built in any of the worlds that I've made, I think that building a community of people that are just so incredible, and we really get to connect through something that we love together, which is Minecraft, is maybe one of the things that I'm most proud of in life in general. And I think that it speaks to the fact that, you know, I could have a YouTube channel with 4,000 subscribers or with 10,000 or an even bigger number, but all of my YouTube comments and all of the quote-unquote support that I could be getting, wouldn't really be considered support, right? And so I might be getting money, or I might be getting, attention or acclamation or whatever it be, but I wouldn't be getting any of the reinforcement that makes me feel like I'm doing my best out here and putting my best energy into the universe, regardless of the financial or the monetary gain from it. And so being able to just have so many real people, when you first start doing things on the internet, it's like sometimes it's hard to believe that they're real people, but these are real people. And I've gotten to know so many of you through doing this, and I would never take it back. And so, yeah, I'm so proud of the creation of this community and putting myself out there to try to get to know you all. And it's one of the best things that I've decided to push myself into in my adult life, I would say. But honestly, besides that, I think the other thing that I've created, and I know it's not like a specific Minecraft build, but that I'm the most proud of, is just the fact that I have this YouTube channel in general. Because when I started, I didn't think that I had a voice that was worth listening to, or a perspective that was worth hearing, or content that was worth engaging with or being entertained by. I really didn't think that those things really applied to me in particular. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try it. And you never know unless you don't try. And now, a couple years later, I'm sitting up on almost 750,000 channel views and 4,000 subscribers. And again, hundreds and thousands of people that really do like what I put out into the universe, whether it be for its educational content, or because of who I am, or because of the cinematics and the just quality and fidelity of the videos that I make. I really do put so much time into them, and now I have this thing that I'm so proud to tell other people about. And I'm like, yeah, I have this, quainty little Minecraft YouTube channel that is, it's still on the smaller side, but it's by no means, tiny, and not without, accolades. And I've done this all myself, and learned how to video edit, and decided that I wanted to be a Minecraft YouTuber, and get to hang out and make videos with the people that I admired myself. And so by far, those are the things that I'm the most proud of when it comes to the things that I happened to have created. But I must say, in just a little bit of time, these lanterns, they really just bring so much light, especially when it comes to the light detail, but just some extra zhuzh to the area as well. Now, for the last couple of episodes, I haven't really done anything Lightmatica related in this world. There is a build that I ended up making a couple of weeks, or maybe a couple of months ago, that I just haven't had a chance to put into this world. The idea behind this build is that it's going to be kind of like a collector's guild. The idea here being that eventually we're going to have a bunch of rare materials, but I don't really want to have them just in our normal inventory. Things like armor trims and like our netherite, all of the cool things that we could get here. But as much as I would like to start building over in this area of the kingdom, over where our park area starts to go, there are still plenty of more spots in front of our kingdom that we could utilize. And so I think that I'll be utilizing this area right here. And just as always in any Minecraft world, it starts to rain, which honestly isn't the end of the world, because I do feel like it's a cozy rainy vibe here in the kingdom of Aapon. And anyway, we're gonna have a lot of work to do in order to prepare this area right here and terraform it in order to get it ready for the build. Along with, I have plenty of materials and chores to do around the kingdom. Marnie, I can't believe that we've almost been here for 1,000 days. Yeah, I totally agree. This place is really starting to come together. But I say, let's get ourselves ready for a brand new build in the kingdom of Aapon. And when things are all set and good to go, I'll check in with you then. Well, given the short amount of time that I had to make this build, I do think that it came out quite well, or as said in the words of the wonderful BH, I think that I've cooked. But I did also want to mention there's something kind of interesting about this build in that for the first time ever, I ended up using the easy place mode on Lightmatica. The reason being, I am quite time strapped this week in order to get a nice build out for you all, but to my amazement, it probably took me about 45 minutes or so to create this build on its own in creative, and then it took me 32 minutes to build it in survival, which honestly is just completely shocking. And so without further ado, we can say a grand welcome to the Bank of Aapon. I kind of like the idea of having an area in this region where people can come from other kingdoms in order to do commerce and trade with the kingdom. And although we don't have an interior yet, we're gonna have to make this hoppin' and bustlin' with all of the different commerce related things of the region, which I'm honestly very excited to do. And in this area all around the bank, we have plenty of land in which I think that I'm gonna put some wheat fields. If you know the guy Slip, or if your name happens to be Inca Raids, then you know that this guy loves building with flowers. So I think that a little pathway leading on up to the tavern will be the perfect thing that this area needs. And then we'll take the surrounding area, maybe extend the path right here to lead up this way, and then continue to fill in everything with wheat instead of having a boring old sign like the Aapon Sugar Incorporated Industries that we have behind me. I'd love if one of you guys in the comments were able to give a fun nickname for the bank that we have here. But I'm going to continue on to get this build ready for its final version, and we'll do it cinematic style. Then, when everything's done, we'll go together and take a look at the interior. Well, just about an hour and a half later, and we have the interiors complete on the bank, which I happened to do during a live stream, which lasted about an hour and a half. And I must say, I always have such a blast hanging out with you all on stream. We always put on some nice relaxing music, and you guys get to see my thought process a little bit more. And most importantly, I get to connect with all of you, which is just so important in my life. And we live stream pretty much every single Friday around 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You're more than welcome to come and join us. But you will see that we've extended our pathways as we've talked about, and we've gotten around to planting a wheat field in the area too. I really do think that the crops help fit in the area well, and in my personal opinion, you can really never go wrong with having some extra yellow around the area. For our pathways right here, we went pretty simple. We have some chiseled stone bricks, and then some stone bricks and stone, and that's just about it here. In my personal opinion, you really don't have to do too much to spice up an area, and just switching up the block palette in order to give a place a path will bring all of the life to an area that you need. But as you can see, the Bank of Aapon has really come together, and I love the mixture of the oak trapdoors and the spruce trapdoors along with the spruce signs that I have outlining the outer edge of the building. And of course, it wouldn't be a slip build if I hadn't put some decorated pots and some saplings in the outer linings of the roof along with on the sides of the walls as well. And one extra little detail that I did want to point out that I think is really nice to have in wheat fields is that you'll see that we have an oak trapdoor that's over top the water source that's hydrating all the crops in the area. You really can't tell that it's there from afar, but if you were to go into an elytra or if we go into cheetah cam, you can see that it really helps fit in the area and kind of keep everything nice and clean. And as I was saying, I had a really good time designing this interior. As you can see on on the floor, we have some chiseled tuff and then some tuff bricks along with some gray glazed terracotta, which is my first time ever using this in Minecraft. We also have some mud down here, and I think that it really just gives kind of like a cold, rustic, but clean environment to the area. The kingdom of Aapon is still more of a darker medieval kingdom, as we can see outside with all of the deep slate that we've used on all of the buildings around the kingdom. And so on the interior here, I wanted the interior to kind of match that vibe of the kingdom. We have a bunch of lecterns all over the area, and the idea here is that these guys are ledgers where people can come into the kingdom and they can do their financial transactions and write them all down in the books that we have here. One thing that I did talk a lot about on stream is the use of item frames just to store your items, and it really doesn't even matter what you put in them, but the more that you use item frames, just like trapdoors in a Minecraft world, the more that it brings an interior to life, in my personal opinion. I also can never go without having some decorated pots right here, the extra kind of maroon red and just the extra texture that you have with the pot leading up with these different gradients right here. It makes all the difference, and it's just such a fun block to have in the game. And on this side right here, we have a little table with another pot and a lantern for some extra light too. We can also head up to the second floor, where we have an interior that is very similar to the one that we have on the first floor, without the addition of the blast furnaces, as you can see. I was kind of just experimenting while I was doing my interiors, and one thing that I wanted to point out is, once again, these decorated pots. If you put them into an item frame, it's just a really nice thing to have on the walls. We have some more lecterns where people can fill in their ledgers, and then on this side we just have some more open space with even more item frames too, and an anvil right here with a decorated pot and some more blast furnaces. I know that it doesn't feel like the most bank thing in the world, but for this point in time as a Minecraft builder and an interior designer, this was the best that I could do in order to make a bank. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm happy with how it came out. I'm really happy that I took the time to do this on stream in particular and take it slow, so that we could have a really cool interior for this build. So we'll have to get around to placing a sign around here and give this bank an official name besides the Bank of Aapon. I was thinking last night, I was like, do I want to do the Bank of Aapon? Do I want to do Bank? And once again, I'm leaving it up to you. I'd love to take one of your suggestions from the comments below. But as the sun begins to set, and as we are approaching day 1000 here, in our survival world, our forever world, you can say that the kingdom of Aapon is really starting to come together. This world really has a fantastic story that we're making within it, and I'm so happy that you all get to take a part of it. And now I have no idea what we're going to be building for next week, but I do know one thing, and that is that I'm so happy with everything that we've built here, and it's so wonderful just to have this kingdom come to life. I'm so excited to bring more life into this kingdom and to make this area become something bigger than words. One thing's for sure, in order to make that happen, we have plenty of work to get prepared for next week. So just as always, thank you for watching, and I say let's get back to work. Without a single doubt in my mind, I can say that I cooked. This waterfall and bridge came out exactly how I was imagining in my mind. It starts up there and it's all stone bricks, so you can see exactly why I need so many stone bricks to my name. And it passes right underneath the nether portal and then right underneath our bridge leading on down to the cottage. The bridge is nice and quaint and gets the job done without taking up too much space or too much of the look from the area. And obviously this addition was nowhere near necessary, but I'm so happy that we ended ended up doing it, and it changes up the kingdom of Aapon so much. At the moment, I'm still definitely feeling the job completion vibe, but the more that we walk and go to our villager training area over here, the more that we'll be able to appreciate the hard work that we put in this episode. And for the first time, this kingdom feels much more than just a little village with a path, and it's really starting to develop into something special. Which, speaking of something special, I think that it's just about time that we get back to working on the tunnel that we have here. The good news is that we still have plenty of materials to keep on building. So I say, why don't we fire up our Lightmatica schematic and see what we can get done in just about an hour or two. And when the timer goes off or we run out of materials, I'll check in with you then. Be honest with you, I'm standing here pretty shocked because although we've been steady at work for about 5 or 6 hours now, I've gotten so much more work done than I ever thought I was going to. You see, this part of the tunnel over here with the pillars and the lanterns is as far as I've gotten in my Lightmatica schematic, and man does it look pretty with all of the white blocks, but I haven't done anything else in my creative world, and besides that, we're out of quartz, so there's nothing else we can do for this build yet at the moment. But I'm honestly so shocked I wasn't expecting to get this far in the build for another month or so, and so I will say it's quite a good feeling to have that done and we can continue to work on it in the future. But not only that, as you've seen in the cinematic, we also got to finishing the texturing on our monorail. I've completed the entire thing more or less, because although there might be a cobblestone spot every once in a while, if we get around to building in the area, we can just fix it up then. I really am so happy with the progress that we have so far in the episode, and it's just about time that we start making the main build for today's episode. Although I'm still not quite sure what we're going to be building, I still have to build it in build school, so I'm going to get around to doing that, and I'm excited to see what I end up making. And who knows, while I get to doing that, I might end up getting to doing one other project here in Aapon. So consider leaving a like on the video, and I say let's get back to building something wonderful in this incredible kingdom. I'm being genuinely honest with you when I say that this is some of the best building that I've ever done. You can totally see that I cooked on this bridge, which I ended up whipping up this morning. It's perfectly medieval and has some wonderful arches along with some potted plants as well. I got inspired by Blockdown and wanted to build some arches along with some potted plants for some extra curvature as well on the sides. And then with the lanterns on the trapdoors, I think that it really just matches everything perfectly and fits into the vibe of the area. I did have to do some terraforming down here, but you can see that we have some oak trapdoors and some spruce trapdoors and buttons too. And the more that we get work done this episode, the more that the entire area is coming to life. I've also cut out through the potato fields and made ourselves a path leading on over to the west, or whatever direction the sun sets, that is. And I'm sure that as we continue to expand the kingdom, we'll come in with some walls and some extra layers to kind of keep this area enclosed. I must say, I am so happy with the view overlooking the bridge, which is overlooking the crop fields, which is overlooking our park over here. And the same can be said with the view that we have coming down here with our new waterfall, which I've come around to giving the name Ada's Waterfall, because some of you may know that I'm an elementary school teacher, and she ended up making some incredible fan art, which we'll have up on the screen right here. It really is so creative and so well done, and as a teacher, along with as a content creator, some of the best appreciation you can get is in the form of fan art. So you're more than welcome to make and send whatever fan art you would like in our Discord thread, which is Slip Sanctuary, always linked in the description below. But besides that, I did want to head over to our bank. And if we head inside, we can place a spruce sign on the wall because we officially have a name for this place. And that name is the Gold and Glory Treasury, which has come in as a comment from the Targ, which I think that this is a perfect name for this place. It really fits in with the atmosphere, which I think that this is just a perfect name for this place. It matches the vibe so well. And I really appreciate you taking the time to leave a comment and giving the bank a name. Now, we have done a whole ton of work over in this area so far in this episode, but I'm happy to say that the fun doesn't stop there, because our main build for this episode, something I'm so excited to put in this world, is going to be a clock tower. The only way that I know how to get to the top at the moment is to go up the waterfall, but I'm sure we'll get around to building some pathways in the area at some point. But over here at the top, you can see that we already have all of the materials that we'll need for the build, and I'm so excited to put this guy into this area overlooking the entire kingdom. And better yet, I think that it's one of the best builds that I've ever made. So if you're still here, consider leaving a like on the video, and without further ado, let's put something absolutely incredible into this world. Well, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that I cooked on this build. In fact, I think that this build may be one of my favorite builds that I've were made. As you can see along the sides, the lilacs just add that extra bit of color that the area really needed, and the waterfall is the extra bit of decoration too. We still have no way of getting to the top, so up the river we go, but I'm sure that eventually when we get a pair of wings, it'll be pretty easy to get to the top of this building. And as we get up to the top, we can take an official look at our new build, this clock tower that we have here in the kingdom of Aapon. And one of my favorite things that we have is definitely the levers and the chains that we have on the sides of the walls. If your build is ever looking too straight, I recommend using this little trick. It gives some extra curvature and some extra detail to the sides. But as you can see, we have this lovely clock tower, and I've never built anything like this in the game before, and it's one of my favorite builds, as I'm saying. We have our fences for windows, and then I did some extra texture work with some stone stairs here too. We have a nice medieval entrance as we look up to the top of the build, and if we head inside, we only have one very special thing here. I guess besides the addition of some special items in this world, like one of our music discs, and up here we have a totem of, I forget what it's called, potion of... I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know in the comments. But right here in this area, we have our first ever set of enchanted diamond gear in the world. You can see that I've gotten around to putting on a new set of diamond gear, but this pair that we have right here will always be very special in the world. As we've discussed multiple times, this is a forever world, a world that I hope to give to my kids one day, and so this is going to be a priceless item for them to see eventually. But besides that, and some banners on the walls, you can see that this is all of the space that we have for our interior. And as we step outside, you can see that this place has really started to become a sprawling kingdom in these lands in front of us. I do think that we're going to have to add some other waterfalls into this kingdom. In particular, I'm thinking over here by our starter house in between the tunnel that we have here too. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is what I've been able to accomplish in 1,000 days in Minecraft survival. As you can tell, we haven't gotten around to fighting the end dragon yet, but I'm still really in no rush to do so. We have plenty of more stories and lots of more adventures to be had in this world, so I say why rush it? And I say why not invite some players over to the kingdom at some point. Maybe we can have some sort of water event down the river. But besides that, I would say that we've gotten a hefty amount of progress done in the world for this episode. If you enjoyed this video and if you enjoy my company, I highly recommend you taking a look at the video that you have on the screen right here. But with 1,000 days completed in this kingdom, I assure you, we have tons and tons more projects to do. And so, as always, I say thank you for watching and let us get back to work.